Hello everyone, this is Persephone. Yesterday, when I uploaded my video about the story with my narcissistic mother and how I have come to the conclusion that LAZY SLOTH, a kind viewer told me that my video helped them. So if these videos help even one person, I'm going to continue making them. A small intro if you don't know me. I was raised by narcissism. I have autism, I have CPTSD, I have a variety of autoimmune problems, all caused directly by adverse childhood experiences. And I'm also done with the way the modern society and psychiatrists, the majority of them are sellouts, operate. So I'm starting to make this series of videos, reaching out to other people in similar situations with narcissists. I'm going to emphasize on parents, but I have dated narcissists, I've been in the workplace with narcissists, so if you can relate, if you want to reach out, my channel is a safe space for you, and eventually I want to create a community of like-minded people that we are victims, but we are going to be the victims from hell, and turn the tables around. A few disclaimers. I do not promote crimes, going vigilante, violence, hate comments of any kind. We are law-abiding citizens. And my biggest goal in life right now is to become wealthy enough to create a non-profit organization that will hunt down narcissists. By hunting down, I don't mean releasing them in the woods and shooting them. That's illegal. Unfortunately, we can't do that. I would be tempted though, I'm not going to lie. But it means pressuring society and the government to take active action against them. Because I had a second near-death experience with my health recently, and I want to tell you, I have done everything by the book according to psychiatrists and according to popular advice. I'm fully financially dependent. I was in no contact with my narcissistic mother for 5 years, not even high, but because she's next of kin, every time I'm in the hospital, they notify her. So goodbye to my medical privacy, goodbye to my peace of mind, and I was being abused literally on my deathbed. So I have come to the conclusion that society lies to us. That if you are like me, if you had the misfortune of being born in a family of narcissists, you are never going to get rid of the narcissist the way things stand right now. And everyone is lying to us. Everyone is blaming us. By everyone, I don't mean literally everyone, but you see all of these quotes, your life is your problem, your recovery is your responsibility. It is my responsibility, you are right. But how can I legally divorce my mother to prevent the hospital from reinserting her back into my life? I have to find some other man to marry and make him the next of kin to get rid of her. Doesn't that sound like kind of a hostage situation? But first things first. My channel is a safe space. I'm putting money as a first priority right now because I am going to make the non-profit. I declare it here. So this is my only monetized channel, and it has a lot of weird videos about other topics that I ask you to please ignore. Eventually, I'm going to make it into a channel about narcissism. I'm not a mental health professional. Everything that I say is going to be quoted from Dr. Sam Vaknin or books or Dr. Ramani. I don't steal any credit or plagiarize, and I don't substitute medical or legal advice. And also because I believe that if I read something or watched something and it helped me, it's the right thing to show you the resources and to also learn from you. I will try to make these videos about topics that they are not the same thing that we always see on YouTube channels. And today's video is going to be a topic that I don't see mentioned a lot. This topic is that every narcissist I have ever met in my entire life was lazy, looked for the shortcuts, didn't want to work, and also they were proud of it, which is the most strange and impressive part if you ask me. My narcissistic mother will be used as an example. And I want to tell you some stories, and you are free to share your experiences in the comments and anything else you want. Narcissists will be blocked and removed from the channel for obvious reasons. So my mother was a teen mother, and when I was 20 days old as a newborn infant, she dumped me to my grandmother to go back to college, where she got some city college degree. And when it was my time to go to college, my narcissistic mother was still in her 30s. So she decided to go back to college too. And she created this amazing narrative of this mom who was a teen mom and going back and doing it all, and people were clapping and saying, wow, you should be so proud of your mom, when I was 16 or 17. Something that nobody knew that I'm sharing for the first time ever today in my life is that during her 4 years in college, I had to make all of her assignments, plus mine. I wasn't living with her, but she would use money, threats, drama, because I was very poor as a student, I was working part-time jobs, but it wasn't enough, and I was trying to not get money from them. And she would literally say, you type the assignment or you don't get any money. And when you have to think about, should I pay the electricity bill or should I eat, you have to suck it up and do it for survival. What was she doing is that she would take extra assignments. There was a time where I translated a 100-page scientific document in English. Because my mother was studying in a German college. She had her primary studies in Germany. She grew up in Germany, although she's not German. And there were so many words that I didn't know that I had to buy a dictionary, and I had to pay it out of my own pocket. And I remember I was sitting 6 to 7 hours a day doing these things, and she never even gave me credit. The problem with that is that I many times offered to teach her how to do these things. That, I'm going to teach you how to use Word, to send the emails, the documents. She would always try to find someone else to dump the work to and then take the credit. It was always the shortcut. The same thing was with cooking. My father thought that she's cooking for almost 10 years and it was always takeout. She would send me to the store, buy the containers of the food, throw them away, and then say to me, if you say anything to him, I'm going to kill you or I'm going to beat you, when I was 6 or 7 years old. It's the same with everything. Now you're going to say, if she's doing all that, what is she doing with the rest of your time? Because if you don't do anything, you have plenty of time. Well, drinking alcohol, drinking more expensive alcohol, watching soap operas like Days of Our Lives and other crap, gossiping on the phone, gossiping on the internet, spying on other people on the internet, anything you can imagine that is time waste, she was doing it. I have seen this pattern of behavior in so many narcissists over the years that they are literally allergic to learning and to hard work, and they love the shortcut. The problem with the shortcut is that you put a band-aid to the problem, but then over time you find it in front of you again and again. So in my mother's case, she never learned any of these skills that she needed to get a very high-rank job. And eventually she managed to get a very high-rank job. I'm not going to say the industry. I have to protect her privacy because she's going to sue me, although eventually I'm going to sue her first. But for the time being, I'm just going to tell you that she got a job where she was managing around 50 people. If you know the book Snakes in Suits, the narcissist in the workplace, she's the boss. She's the top snake. The problem was that when you do this job and you don't have these skills and the shortcuts have compiled over the years, you don't know how to do anything. So all of a sudden, no matter how much you try to hide it, your incompetence is starting to show. For example, at some point, she started to have documents that they were classified, that she couldn't get them out of the workplace. And she took one document out of the workplace that had information about some of her employees that was private. And she took it to a lawyer illegally because she wanted to sue them. And they found out and she got in extreme legal trouble. As a result, she didn't want to quit her job because, that is a huge narcissistic injury, that you're the top boss and all of a sudden you can't even send the simple emails that you should have been sending 10 years ago. So a normal person here, a person who is not a lesser life form, would say, okay, then what you do in this case is you have to sit down now and cram up the skills and learn the skills as fast as you can so you can start being more effective at your job, right? Well, she's not going to do that. What she decided to do was cause drama every day, throw tantrums in the house, scream, break items, pass out with Xanax, pass out with alcohol, and attack and harass people around her. And also the other method was to find people who were in dire need of money and employment and dump all of the tasks to them. In her workplace, there was a woman that she had multiple sclerosis and she really needed money. So she managed to get a secretarial position as a special needs person because that's a very severe disability. And I have met people with multiple sclerosis in my time in the hospital and it's terrible. That woman wasn't a secretary. That woman had to become a programmer. She had to become someone using AI and ChatGPT to make the presentations for my mother. She had to answer all of the appointments. Eventually, she burned out so much and she was so capable and trying, but it was never enough for my mother. Then she tried to find other disabled people to abuse and exploit. other people who were temporary workers, because at her job they were hiring people at a 1-year contract. And during this 1 year, you were evaluated by your supervisor on a monthly basis. And if you had a specific score, you could apply for a more permanent position, or for a salary increase, or for a better place closer to your house. So there were specific benefits, and these people were very dependent on my mother's evaluation. And she took and dumped tasks on them to the point that the workplace became a zoo. People couldn't keep up anymore, and that triggered the lawsuit that I'm going to be discussing on upcoming videos. And I'm so happy to air that awful woman's dirty laundry, because you cannot imagine how much I despise her. That would be an isolated case, of course, but I have met a lot of people, to the point that I consider this now a huge red flag, who are proud parasites. This does not refer to pregnant people, people with disabilities, people who lost their jobs in this economy and they are in job hunting and so on. I'm talking about, for example, someone that he was lucky enough that his awful parents passed away and left him an inheritance, and he's now on Reddit all day bragging about how he lives off of a woman and how you don't need a job, you just need odd ways of making money and scamming. And if you want my opinion, right now, when I hear that someone doesn't have a job and they have a long list of reasons about how smart they are, how in this world you don't need to work, how the economy is fucked, I block that person without interaction. I consider this a huge red flag. I think that there is something severely wrong with the fact that you parasitize, or you look at the shortcut and you think that you're smarter than others, because whether we like it or not, you still need to eat, you still need to pay bills. If you have a job and you don't do it, you are burdening someone else. So this shows that there's something very wrong with you. There is a lot of entitlement. I knew another woman who was also an awful person, a narcissist, and she's in these communities of antinatalists, pessimists, needs. All of these people are narcissists. And people say, Persephone, you shouldn't diagnose online. I'm going to say they are. They say, oh, I'm an antinatalist. The world is a horrible place. It's better to not have been born. I have met 2 categories of people who told me it's better if you have been dead. My narcissistic mother and the antinatalists. Life isn't always pleasant, but life isn't always horrible either. If your life is always horrible, most likely you're a narcissist, you're a loser, and you project your own experience to everyone else because you don't see other people as separate entities. If you think that your life is so horrible, I respect that, but you cannot say, hey, Persephone, your life is so horrible too. You should have been dead too. How do you even consider it appropriate to say that? So if you are dating a narcissist, if you are married to a narcissist, from my experience, they are not going to be doing things to help you. And here is where the second part of the problem lies, the gaslighting from the mental health professional industry. I have come to the belief that a lot of people who are diagnosed with ADHD in fact have narcissism, and they use weaponized incompetence and learned helplessness and ADHD diagnosis as a weapon. And that is extremely unfair to people who actually have ADHD and they have good intentions and they want to help, but the narcissists give them a bad reputation. If, let's say, you are married to a narcissist, and you are a woman, because I'm a woman, so I'm going to talk from a female perspective, but it may as well be a man, the genders are irrelevant here, and you go to a mental health professional with the narcissist, with the person who doesn't help you in the house, who doesn't pay the bills, who is irresponsible, he comes home and he plays video games all day, and you try to explain the problem, they're not going to tell you, hey, you married a parasite. You have to start planning ahead for your survival. They're going to tell you, have you communicated your needs well? Have you communicated your boundaries? Have you tried making the house chores into a game? Have you tried using calendars? Have you tried using notification? I'm going to go to the more adult topic here. As a woman, I have few sexual turn-offs, few things that can make me personally sexually disgusted with a person, and to lose all respect for them, than to be a man's mother. If a man is an adult, and I have to go here and say, hey, do you want to create a calendar so you can remember to do the washing machine, and then I'm going to give you points, I'm never going to touch this man sexually or kiss him again in my entire life. It's absolutely disgusting. It's also unfair to me because we both live in that house, we both have to wash the clothes, but I'm the one who has to go through the mental load of arranging that. And then you have to baby the narcissist and treat them like a child. And I consider all of these psychologists and psychiatrists who introduce these methods scammers. That even if there is a change, it's going to be for a few weeks, and then the narcissist is going to revert back to the usual laziness. I believe that the narcissist is lazy because they feel superior to us. So there are a lot of things that we have to do, the inferior slaves, and they don't have to do because they are more important. My narcissistic mother loves herself so much. Every psychologist is telling me that narcissists hate themselves. And intellectually I understand it, but from my practical, real daily life, I don't see that. I grew up with a woman that her only care was her little self 24/7. We all had to cater to herself 24/7. She didn't want to do anything. And it was always a quest of how am I going to avoid doing what I have to do, to the point that I break the other person down, and then when the other person retaliates, I'm going to be the victim. Because when it came a point where I couldn't keep up with her assignments anymore, and I told her, look, either you're going to give me more money so I can buy food and I can survive, give me a raise because I'm working here, like doing everything, 2 college degrees at the same time, or I'm not doing it anymore. She went around and told everyone that I'm a teen mom, I sacrificed my body, I sacrificed my childhood to raise this ungrateful goblin, Persephone, that I just asked for a little bit of help with my assignments because I'm a, what is she, a xennial? I don't know if she's a boomer, but she was saying, you know, I have difficulty with technology and I have sacrificed everything for this child, and look at how ungrateful she is. And slowly she eroded and alienated the entire extended family against me, because if you hear 24/7 the stories about how she's struggling and working and going to college and her loser daughter can't even pick up like the phone to help with how to send an email, people start to be disgusted by me. And the narcissist wins again. Because I believe that, this may sound very controversial, but I believe that when you abuse someone back, when you fight back, it's not the same as when you just start problems out of nowhere. For example, I'm never going to call someone fat or ugly in my life. You will never see me writing a fat shaming comment. You will never see me commenting on someone's body. I fully respect other people and their bodies and their rights in that sense. I'm very sensitive to that. But if I have a narcissist and they start harassing me and stalking me and threatening me, there comes a point where I draw a line and I say anything is fair game. I'm not introducing you to do that. I'm not suggesting to do that. I'm just explaining how I operate and how I survived in my life. So I mind my own business. I don't harass anyone, but if you come to me with everything you have and you're fat, your body is going to be fair game. So when my mother would start to insult me about something and she had gained weight, I would insult her back and I would call her fat. For example, if she said, which is something that has happened, your clothes look like shit, you wear an autistic uniform, because I have tactile defensiveness from autism and a lot of fabrics or patterns and stuff like that bothered me, and there was a time where I was wearing very simple clothes, like one color clothes, and she would mock me, I would say, have you looked in the mirror? Your clothes don't look exactly so good on you either anymore. You are not 150 pounds anymore. And all hell will break loose. So I have a breaking point and I give back what I get, and starting with this series, I'm going to give back 10 times more of what I get. Because if you pay back evilness with kindness, what are you going to do to pay back actual kindness? Anyway, I'm not going to derail this video. My point is that we are being scammed by society. That the fact that many narcissists are parasitic, they don't want to work, they don't want to raise children they chose to bring into this world, they don't want to do their jobs at their workplace, is being concealed. People don't talk enough about it, about how the narcissist is working other people to the bone using various tactics in order to prevail. And eventually you fall ill from all of this stress, from being alone and unsupported. And if you ask me, the worst part isn't that. The worst part for me was the gaslighting. That everyone was telling me, it's not that bad, it's not that bad, you didn't try enough, especially with the narcissistic men that I used to date. that, oh, this man has ADHD, or he has never lived alone before. When I was married to a psychiatrist who was a covert narcissist, and he was officially diagnosed as a covert narcissist years after we divorced, that is a very interesting story that I'm going to share with you. People would tell me, he's a doctor. You have to do more than your fair share now. Why is that? Why, when we got married, I never agreed that I'm going to be his home slave. And if he's such a successful doctor, why doesn't he pay for me to get some more expensive appliances, or a person to come help me clean, or do something else? I'm not saying that, yeah, you're not going to come back from a 36-hour shift at the hospital to do dishes, but when you're a doctor, you have a bigger salary. So can we find a compromise and give me some extra money to cover up for the things that you are not doing around the house? He didn't want to. His money were all for him. But if you say that, people will say, well, this is how doctors are. Well, this is how men are. You know, men are raised differently than boys. Really? Because after I divorced my ex and he started living by himself, he was getting a cleaning service once a week, and I didn't see cockroaches dancing tango dances in the living room. So how did he all of a sudden develop the ability to clean after I was out of the picture? But when I was living with him, he would say things like, I'm very tired and I don't know what to prioritize. Just tell me what to do and I'm going to do it. No. I'm making this video because I want to know if there are other people out there like me who have this experience with a parasite, lazy, / entitled narcissist. And I want to ask you to please share your experiences, because it is something that destroys our lives from the inside, and somehow we are the ones at fault. So I believe, and what I do right now is, I don't care what kind of mental diagnosis someone has. I saw a woman, I know a woman online that I'm good friends with, that she had ADHD, extremely severe ADHD, and she was on 3 different ADHD meds, and she was going to occupational therapy every week, and she eventually landed a programming job. She's making $10,000 a month right now. But that woman wasn't a narcissist. She was feeling deeply ashamed. She was feeling upset. She had kids that she couldn't provide for. So she took matters when it comes to her own mental challenges and problems in her own hands, and she thrived. But she wasn't going around saying excuses about how this is too difficult and how other people need to accommodate her. So after meeting this woman, I started to be very suspicious about all of these people who say, I have ADHD, I can't do anything, and then they play games on their phone for 11 hours straight. Are we sure this person isn't a narcissist? Hijacking other people's diagnosis to play the victim? So to end this video, as things are with my mother right now, she's about to lose her job. There is a court case happening in May, and if the 15 people who are suing her win against her, she's going to be fired, and I'm going to be extremely satisfied with that result. And that is a reckoning. The difference between revenge and reckoning that I learned it at a later age is that reckoning is the consequence of accumulating actions that you did in the past. For example, if you smoke for 10 years, then you get lung cancer. You didn't get lung cancer in a day. But there came a time where you did, because every day you chose to get up and smoke. In a similar way, the narcissist who didn't bother to learn about technology and emails and ChatGPT for 10 years, there comes a day where they can no longer keep up and they're getting fired. And I live for that reckoning, and I'm going to do whatever possible, move heaven and earth, to see that reckoning for as many of them as possible. So I'm going to close this video and possibly many other videos with what I'm telling you. If you are watching this video and you're suffering right now, and you're trapped in a horrible country, because many countries don't have any mental health, any financial help for victims of narcissists whatsoever. They are mocking us to our faces. If there is no hope, and if you don't know how to get out, there will be a day where I'm going to get you out with my organization. So if there is nothing else you can do, outlive them. Survive day after day. AI is advancing, and I have many plans, and I know that I sound crazy, but I'm past the point of caring anymore. So outlive them. They want us to die. A narcissist profits if you die. It's narcissistic supply for life. My mother, the sad mother with a special needs autistic child, who had a rare autoimmune disease and then died. Infinite narcissistic supply. Infinite excuses to drink alcohol. Infinite excuses to gamble. Infinite excuses to behave erratically, and people are saying she's mourning. She lost her daughter. She had only one daughter. That's not going to happen. I'm making this video from a wheelchair right now. This is how bad things are. And I have so much pain in my legs from the arthritis that imagine that someone took a baseball bat and smashed my legs. But even if, I'm going to get up from that and I'm going to run again. But even if I don't, as long as I'm alive, I'm going to be fighting these monsters with everything that I have. And whoever stands in their way, covering up for them. All of the psychiatrists, that if they had one shred of decency professionally and morally, when you go to their office, they would say the truth. When you go to a doctor and you have cancer, they tell you you have 2 years. You have 3 years. They tell you the truth. They don't tell you, oh, just do a gratitude journal and you're going to be fine. But when you have the narcissist and you have spiritual cancer because of them, people are telling you, you can get out. Just form a no-contact plan. In the meantime, you could be physically disabled, you could be mentally disabled, maybe the narcissist never let you drive or have your own money or your own resources. You're in a country that you can never get rid of them legally. It doesn't matter. They just lie to you. I'm trying to find one psychiatrist who is going to tell me it's fight to the death. Until society changes, until there are new laws that I'm not making laws, I'm not a lawyer, but there has to be a law that allows you to permanently remove this person from your life, we are stuck with them. I know it's a very painful truth. I was very devastated when they called here again, but that's what I believe. That they don't tell you that, because if people learn that, oh, you're going to be with this abusive monster for 80 years until one of you dies, people would go, people would go off in society and do criminal things. So they have to placate you. They have to say, well, it's okay. You can go no contact one day. Mark Twain said to quit smoking is the easiest thing in the world. I've quit smoking hundreds of times. That's what he said. I've gone no contact hundreds of times. Every time I'm being dragged back one way or another way. Enough has been enough. Now I'm not going no contact. I'm going after the reckoning. And I told my narcissistic mother, you are dead to me. That clearly one of us has to die. You don't stop otherwise. It has been so many years. I've been trying to simply remove myself from your life for such a long time. I minded my own business. I changed countries. I changed cities. I changed jobs. I changed partners. Every time somehow you reinsert yourself into my life. And she said, I'm not going to have any money if they fire me and I'm going to die. So I'm going to spend all the money of the family to get revenge and then come after your money. And I said, come after me with everything you have. It's okay. Every time I think that these people can hit the lowest bottom, there is an abyss below proving me wrong. But that's okay. She is going to be the most cursed person in the world, mark my words. Because when I'm going to make the non-profit, every time a narcissist is being sent to prison for what they did to their victim, because we're going to have lawyers in that non-profit, we're going to have documented evidence, everything is going to be done by the law. When the narcissist gets narcissistic collapse from everything that is going to be happening to them, and they ask, how did my victim find the resources? My mother is going to be mentioned, because she pushed things too far this time. So keep in mind that sometimes, if everything is very, very difficult and there is no light anywhere, the last person standing, the last person alive wins. Don't self-harm today. Don't drink alcohol. Don't cope. Survive. And there is going to be a way out. Thank you for watching.